What is responsible business and why is it important? The word responsible business identifies common agreed practices to be followed locally and internationally on how to direct the business. This type of business takes into consideration the environment, community needs, health, and regulation, in addition to the common aim of any business that is to maximize their own profits. Responsible business, moreover, it focuses on granting fairness and equality to its entire employee and tries to avoid any kind of discrimination, bullying, or harassment within the organization. Having concern for the environment is a very important point. First of all, because people are living on it and it should preserve for future generations as well. Second, the business itself will also gain since they are able to reduce the cost of doing business by saving on water or electricity, for example. Another important point is the contribution that this practice has on the community. This is mainly done through donation or voluntary activity. Many companies are turning to doing business responsibly since, in addition to the benefits stated above, they believe it improves the employee performance, job satisfaction, and commitments, in addition to customer and supplier loyalty, and overall strengthen the company reputation through the community. This last point is very important for a company, since trust and good reputation are one of the major assets that an organization owns. The last important thing is that companies have to join responsibility commitments because of the values they believe in and sincere concern for the surrounding. If a poor, hypocritical strategy is chosen, eventually people will get to know of it and become disinterested and suspicious about the company. Introduction to the ethical problem area. Despite international laws aiming to protect human rights and safe labor standards, still child labor is a reality. 170 million children between the age of 5 and 18 are working around the world. Child labor is defined as work that deprives the child of its childhood. It interferes with its education and affects the child's mental and physical development. Hotspots for this practice areas are East Africa and Asia, countries rich of raw materials. The area we want to focus in is ethical globalization. In fact, child labor is growing mainly due to activities of multinational corporations. Nestle, as many other MNCs, is operating internationally looking for cost minimization. Ivory Coast is the largest producer of cocoa beans and child trafficking and enslavement is very common. The 8 main companies in the cocoa industry, including Nestle, made a commitment in 2001 named the Harking Eagle Protocol to promote slave-free production. However, the phenomena still continues. Government regulations are very limited. If it stops child labor, the country's GDP will be adversely affected. Reason why to eradicate the issue international cooperation and willingness to eradicate it from its roots is needed. Introduction to the chosen organization. Nestle has more than 200 companies over 70 countries employing 400,000 people and is providing high quality and safe nutritious product for more than 140 years. The history of Nestle dates back to Switzerland, when the founder of the brand, Henry Nestle, who was also a pharmacist at the time, produced a product by the name of Farine Lactée Nestle. This product combined cow's milk, wheat flour, and sugar to produce a highly nutritious meal for kids. The company gained its popularity when this product saved the life of a child in 1867. The logo of Nestle, as well as the company's name, come from Henry's surname itself, as Nestle means little nest, which is used to represent security, family, and nourishment. Detail of the irresponsible business practice by the chosen organization. According to the Nestle policies, the organization is strictly against the use of child labor. However, as mentioned above, there have been many cases where the organization has been found guilty of such charges. For instance, according to Human Rights Act, under the section of age discrimination, the employer is obliged to pay minimum redundant payment even if the employee is under the age of 18. Secondly, bullying employees at workplace is also violating their rights. Instead of hiring a staff or professionals, Nestle hires young children to perform difficult tasks. Children were smuggled into the Ivory Coast and were made to work for up till 14 hours a day without receiving any payment. The living conditions for these children weren't safe either. If anyone tried escaping, they were forced to drink their own urine and their feet were cut open. They were beaten regularly, fed scrape, and were made to sleep in small rooms with guards watching them. The main reason behind this was to reduce the cost of hiring specialists and covering up for their expenses. A responsible business will pay attention to its own and international laws in regards to its employees. It will also pay close attention to all its activities to make sure that the organization is working within its ethical boundaries, which will in turn improve its image and relationship with the society. However, taking the Nestle's action into account, it contradicts its own policies when it comes to child labor, along with violation of many human rights acts such as age discrimination, unsafe working environment, and bullying. A responsibility of Nestle has wasted lives of children that would have grown up to be better people and would have provided for their families. By committing such an act, they also created a negative relationship with the society and shook their brand image.
For years, this has been a sad but familiar scene in the Ivory Coast. Children hack at pods of cocoa for the chocolate companies, in an industry worth more than £60 billion a year. Last November, they told me they barely got paid, and untreated machete injuries are common. Many children are separated from their families and work far away from home.
My father sent me here to work. I haven't seen my family for 3 years.
The big household name chocolate companies buy cocoa that comes from places like this. Last year, Nestle commissioned an independent auditor to find out the exact details. The investigators discovered that there had been multiple serious violations of Nestle's own company code on child labour, safety and other issues. 10 years ago, Nestle and other chocolate companies signed a protocol promising to act against child labour. Activists are now impatient at the lack of results.
Who are the stakeholders? The primary stakeholders are Nestle, the children, families of the children, and the farmers. The secondary stakeholders are government, shareholders, and human rights organizations. After the lawsuit of 2005, the immediate impact were Nestle tried to protect itself, showing its code of ethics and saying that whatever Nestle is being accused of is against the value of the company. Revenues weren't affected in the short term, on the contrary, they rose. Human rights of the children and safe labor standards are violated. Long-term impact. Due to global pressure, Nestle started to promote slave-free trade. Since 2009, it starts its cooperation with FLA to monitor its supply chain. In 2009, the Cocoa Plan has been launched aiming at helping children, creating awareness on the negative consequences of child labor, increasing cooperation with the farmers to educate them on the company code of ethics, and employing better harvesting techniques and empowering women to reduce discrimination. Nestle also started to work together with the government to promote more strict laws against human trafficking and enslavement. Recommendation to the company. Nestle should continue its commitment toward the issue following its own Cocoa Plan. Cooperate with other companies in the industry in increasing supply chain monitoring and transparency. The company should increase the level of awareness and understanding of its own code of conduct to its suppliers. Increase the cooperation with local government. Recommendation to consumers. Consumers should stop buying products from Nestle. Conclusion: through the research done, it is clear that the company is actually concerned about the issue and is trying to stop it. As the CEO claimed, child labor is against what they stand for. Nestle is a big multinational company. It has the power to change and improve the situation in the Ivory Coast, but still cooperation of various actors in the supply chain and government is needed to develop a sustainable cocoa sector.